Alright guys, it's going to be a step-by-step process on how to curb paint. First, you're going to need a grinder and obviously a battery for the grinder. You're going to need a flat disc. The kind I get is from Harbor Freight. This is it right here. It's a 4.5-inch flat disc. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's going to last you guys a couple curves, so make sure you pick this one up. What we're going to do is, if you zoom in, we're going to sand all this existing paint off. Get it nice and smooth. That way the new curve is going to last a client. We're going to get into it. We're going to sand everything off on it. Make sure you get a mask to protect your lungs. You don't want to be breathing this stuff in, so get you a mask. So this next part is optional. You can either get a leaf blower or you can just use like a broom or a brush. But we're going to go ahead and get rid of all the dust that we created. So get rid of all that. All that dust. And then you're gonna grab yourself. Next, you're gonna get yourself a rag. Spray it with some water. Spray the rag down. And then we're gonna clean the dust off the food. Next, you're gonna grab your stencils. In this case, our customer is gonna want his curb painted on the top and on the bottom. So you grab your stencils, you lay it out, and this is gonna be your measurement on how wide your curb is gonna be. So this is how wide it's gonna be. You might get a little Milwaukee marker, get this at Home Depot, Amazon, and I'm just gonna mark it. Once you get your marks on how wide it's going to be, you get yourself a straight edge, something with a straight edge, and you're just going to trace out your curve. Next step, we're going to go ahead and mask the curb off. What I like to do personally, I'll take some masking tape and I'll mask around the box first, and then I'll hit it with the masking paper. I'll show you what I mean. So get your masking tape, mask the outside of the box. That's the top. Boom, now you're ready for paint. This is the paint I use. So this is a can. And it's gonna be your base coat. Always spray at least 3 to 5 layers of base coat, even if your curb is not gonna be white. All right, so that's our first layer. All right, so my stencils are made of vinyl. That's the blue paper that you see there. And the thing on top, that's transfer tape. I'm gonna show you guys how to take that off in a bit, but you grab your stencil and you lay it down. Boom. Get it nice and flat. Now you grab the transfer tape and you start rolling it back. With your other hand, you can keep the vinyl down. Boom. Just keep rolling it off. Make sure your vinyl stays flat as possible. Boom. So my vinyl is nice and flat. That means I'm gonna have some crispy edges. You can just take your hands, take your fingers, just go over it a couple times, make sure it's nice and flat. And then we're gonna mask off these areas. So the key is to do very light coats and don't sit in one area like this. You wanna go ahead and move it back and forth. Make sure your vinyl's down. So I'm going back and forth, just doing light coats. So every so often, just make sure your vinyl's down. Just continue. Boom. So we're gonna let that sit for about a minute, let it dry, and then we'll peel it off.
To save those because you're gonna need them again. Don't throw them.
So you can see it's crispy. I got a little bit of overspray right here, but we're gonna touch that up at the end with some paintbrushes. So you can see it's a little bit of overspray, but don't worry about it. So in addition to just the numbers, he's gonna get the small American flag on the top and on the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and lay these stencils out. Again, we're peeling the backing off the vinyl, rolling it with our thumbs, and then we're gonna place it on the curve. Boom, line it up. Got the red layer, the blue layer, and now this is gonna be the stars. This is gonna be a simple tip. When you put your stars, either if you're doing like a top flag on the top or like a small flag like this, make sure your stars are upright. A lot of curb painters put their stars upside down, and I'm gonna show you a picture right here. Make sure your stars are always upright. This is one of the steps before the final step. We're gonna make a black border around the whole thing. I like to use the masking tape, so get some masking tape. Go ahead and line up an edge. Once your edge is lined up, get your paint shield. And create your border. Then once I take the tape off, you see that's our black border. And you're gonna do that to all sides. It just makes the curb pop, makes it look more professional. The last and final step are touch-ups. You can get these paint brushes off of Amazon. You just touch up any overspray you might see, and make sure your product looks great. That's how eventually you're going to be able to charge more money, get more clients. People want nice and clean work. Last and final step is clear coat. See how that water just beads off the curb? Now that's a protected curb.
got the Korean corn dog.